Today I'm going to look at a video called The White Lily of Stalingrad by Yarnhub. This is actually a request. Keep those requests coming, guys. I'll watch anything. I'm so surprised that I'm getting any, so thank you. Thank you for coming and watching me. I am very flattered, and as long as people want them, I'll keep making them. But yeah, back to this video. I'm a huge history buff. Something you should know about me. I'll watch anything about history. The thing is, I know a lot. I've studied history in university and stuff too. I don't have a degree in anything, but like that was one of my main areas of study. So it's not like I'm totally blind to historical events. So I will probably know a lot about them, but there's still those stories that's just like, you gotta hear it again, or you've just gotta hear it to really, really hear it, to really understand what was happening back then, and I'm all about it. So without any further ado, let's get on with it. Let's go.
It's the 13th of September 1942, and the bitter Battle of Stalingrad is in the early stages. High above in the skies are 4 Yak-1 fighters from the 437th Fighter Regiment, and they're on a mission to cover and defend the beleaguered city. In command is Major Stepan Danilov, a combat-experienced pilot, but in his charge today is a young pilot who at the age of 21 has shown great promise. But
21 years old, imagine
Danilov
being
plans to keep
21
his
years
eye
old
on this young charge in the
going to
plane
war.
with number 32 on the fuselage. In the distance, a formation of Ju-88s is spotted, and they're not alone, being escorted by Messerschmitt Bf-109s. The 4 Yaks increase speed and spring into action. Rapidly approaching the Germans, the 4 Soviet pilots pick their targets. The Yak-1 was a fast, maneuverable plane that was deadly in the hands of a capable pilot, but it was lightly armed and needed a high degree of skill and accurate marksmanship in order to take down an enemy. The melee ensues.
It looks like a lady in there. Is this going to be a nice feministic badass
to engage
story?
the Soviets. The battle is on, but Danilov needn't have worried. Number 32 lines up the target and watches it loom larger and larger in the sights. The Ju-88 is at last within range, and number 32 unleashes a hail of machine gun fire. It's on target, and bullets rake the Junkers until
That's
it
huge.
bursts into flames and starts falling in an arc towards the ground. It's the first kill for the young pilot, but that's not the end for number 32 on this fateful day. The 437th
doing really
is
well.
a mixed squadron with men and women pilots. Commander Raisa Belayeva, also in a Yak-1, is in trouble. A Bf-109 is all over her tail. Raisa pulls hard into a turn, desperately trying to shake off the German pilot, but it's no good. The
But
109
Goering,
is on her
who
like
was in
glue.
charge of the
In the pilot seat of the 109
airfare?
is German double ace Staff Sergeant Erwin Meyer.
he knew what he
Number
was
32
doing.
spots that the commander is in trouble and comes to the rescue. With expert flying, 32 manages to get behind Meyer.
I'm saying Goering on
Meyer spots
German
the
side.
threat and knows he's in trouble, and so reluctantly breaks off from his intended kill. Number 32 is having none of it though, and deftly lets leash a burst of fire, perfectly timed. It's a critical hit, and the Bf-109 pours smoke and oil. Meyer knows there's no way to get this bird down in one piece, and opens the hatch and jumps out of his stricken warbird. The parachute opens, and he sees his nemesis, the Yak-1 with 32, painted on the
Oh,
side,
this is the
zooming
German, and he's
past it
mad
as
now.
he drifts slowly into enemy territory.
He's all angry. He's gonna have a grudge.
The Red Army conduct a search and capture the German. Marching him back to base, Meyer inquired if he could meet the pilot that bested him in the air, number 32. The Soviets agreed. After landing, the pilot of number 32 was summoned for a meeting with their vanquished foe. However, when the pilot entered the room, Meyer was dumbstruck. He was told that this is the pilot who had shot him down, who also happened to be a young, attractive woman. Lydia
Damn
Litviak.
straight.
Meyer cursed the Soviets for humiliating him with this joke in poor taste, but Lydia stepped forward and in a clear voice and with obvious disdain for the invader, she explained step by step how she bested the German double ace with 11 victories to his name.
He's probably standing there like, oh.
Meyer, realizing he was face to face with the pilot that had vanquished him, apologized, took off his gold watch and offered it to the young woman.
It's nice.
Fixing the German with her piercing blue eyes, she responded,
I don't accept gifts from my enemies.
turned on her heels, and
She ain't
left the
having
German
none
to
of it.
contemplate his fate. She made history on that day by becoming the first woman pilot to shoot down an enemy aircraft. But this was just the start. The next day she engaged in an aerial battle against another Bf-109, this time piloted by Lieutenant Hans Fuss. Fuss had 71 victories to his name. Litviak managed to put a hole in his fuel tank. Fuss disengaged from the melee and sped for home, but ran out of fuel on his return. The 109 went down, somersaulting on the ground before reaching base. Lydia's fame grew. Her commanding officer said of her, she was very aggressive, a born fighter pilot. With her striking looks and fame in defending Stalingrad, she was given the name the White Lily of Stalingrad by her comrades. On February 1943, she was promoted to junior lieutenant and chosen to join a group of elite pilots that were committed to search for targets under their own initiative.
Right?
These free hunters were made up of only the most experienced pilots. In recognition of this status, she had a white lily painted on the side of her plane.
Badass.
In March 1943, Lydia was flying as one of 6 Yak fighters. Spotting 12 Ju-88s, the Yaks engaged the group. Litviak, ignoring the escorting 109s, lined up a Ju-88 in her sights and took the plane down. But before she could get clear, a 109 had her in its sights. Raking the cockpit of Lydia's Yak-1, the White Lily was hit. Shrugging off the pain as best she could, she managed not only to keep control of her plane, but engaged and shot down another Bf-109, piloted by Lieutenant Franz Müller. Despite being in severe pain and losing blood, she managed to return to the airfield, but injury wouldn't stop Litviak, and she was back in the pilot's seat by May.
Wow.
Being in war and in a frontline position, her environment was very male-dominated, but Lydia continued to embrace her femininity and her rebellious nature. She was good friends with her mechanic, Senior Sergeant Ina Pasportnikova. Lydia would ask Ina to fetch bleach from the hospital so she could dye her hair blonde. She would pick flowers and leave them in the cockpit of her plane for luck, much to the annoyance of the Soviet pilots that would share the plane. She was fun-loving, and when returning from a successful mission, she would buzz the aerodrome
She's bringing
and then
joy.
show off doing aerobatics, knowing that it made her commander furious. On August 1st, 1943, just a few days before her 22nd birthday, Lydia took off from her base at Krasny Luch. While on a mission with pilot Ivan Borisenko, she engaged a group of German bombers. She didn't see 2 Bf-109s that were protecting the bombers. One of them, piloted by Knight's Cross holder Hans-Jörg Merkel, intercepted the White Lily of Stalingrad, and she was struck. The planes disappeared behind a cloud out of Borisenko's view. According to German reports, the injured Soviet plane turned and rammed into the Bf-109, killing its pilot. Borisenko descended and searched for Lydia, but found no trace of her.
Just anyone that dies
rarely,
like this
if
is
ever,
just so
awarded the
horrifying
hero of the
to me.
Soviet Union to those that were captured by the enemy. As time passed and the crash site wasn't found, the doubt lingered that Lydia had been taken prisoner by the Germans. Her friend, Pasportnikova, took it upon herself to prove that Lydia had not been captured. It took her 36 years with metal detectors and help from Lydia's family.
36
Eventually,
years she
in
was missing.
1979, after finding more than 90 other crash sites, Pasportnikova was told that a woman pilot had been buried in Dmitrivka after receiving a head wound. The remains were exhumed, and a special commission concluded that this was the remains of the White Lily of Stalingrad.
After all
In
those
1990,
years. Oh,
47
yes,
years
give her
after
that
her
medal.
plane had been downed, Lydia Litviak was awarded the Hero of the Soviet Union by President Gorbachev. But that's not the end of this story. Many historians today believe that Lydia survived. In the year 2000,
We've always got those conspiracy
Nina
theorists.
Raspopova, a veteran of the famous Night Witches bomber regiment who knew Lydia, was watching a television broadcast from Switzerland. On that TV show, it featured a former Soviet woman fighter pilot who had been wounded twice, left the Soviet Union, and got married and had 3 children. Raspopova, in shock, looked at
Why?
this old
Like,
woman
why
and
would
the
she
grainy
crash
TV image.
and then go
Could
off
it
and
be
live another
Lydia?
life? It just doesn't make sense.
Unfortunately, we'll
to
never
me.
know, as no further
Like,
information
what's more
was
likely
found
to
on this
happen? She ran
mysterious
away from
Soviet
the army
veteran.
that
Pasportnikova, when reminiscing of Lydia,
you know,
said
she ran
she
away,
never believed
or
that she was
she
invincible.
died
She
fighting
believed that some
for what she
pilots had
believed
luck
in.
on their side,
Like, really?
and others didn't.
Like,
she firmly believed that if you
Shut
survived the
up.
first missions, the more
Shut
you
up,
flew and
conspiracy
the more
theorists.
experience you got, your chances of making it would increase. But you would have to have luck on your side.
beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Oh my god.
If you
I'm
haven't
subscribing
yet,
to
please
them.
subscribe to the channel and please watch more videos of ours. Thank you.
Incredible. Incredible. I'm going to have to look up more information on this white lily of the Soviet Union, of Stalingrad. I'm sure there's some, I hope there's some more information I can dig into. If you have any book recommendations, go ahead and leave them. I actually just recently read a book called, oh my god, it's basically Russia for Dummies. It's not Russia for Dummies though, it's a short history of Russia. Because I'm trying to get into Russian history a little bit more, which it's a major feat. Let me just tell you, it's a lot of reading, it's a lot of work, but it was really nice to have that. It was a tiny little book. It just kind of went to the beginning to where we are now, and beginning like before the Vikings and shit, and how they were just segregated into so many different cultures, and that's kind of their biggest issue, unfortunately, is they never kind of grew out of that, and it's such a big country that it's hard to control all of these cultures, and so that's where the bloodshed comes in, you know, right? And it kind of just shows you that that's kind of how it's been since the beginning of Russia, since the beginning of the Rus, as they call them. So this is fascinating. So this is definitely a good way, I think, to delve a little bit more into just like a little story just from Stalingrad, because there's so many stories in history, and I just want to hear them all. I want to hear them all. But I've rambled long enough. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching with me, and I really appreciate every single one of you. If you want a request, go ahead and comment it somewhere, like on a video, and I'll see it, and I'll like it, and if I like it, you know, I've seen it, and I've notated it down. So, thank you. Thank you for watching once again, and I'll see you later.